Welcome to the Sold Too Early Sports Card Podcast, my future tax haven. That's Kai. I'm hashtag invest in PPP loans. And Kai, how are you doing today? What's on your mind?
I'm doing good. There's a lot of crazy topics we're going to talk about this week. Some that I didn't even remember 'cause so many other crazy things happened. That's why I looked at the little
Our
mini
doc.
topic list we got. Yeah, I didn't even realize they were even going on still. But
Dude,
yeah,
if we get to 10 episodes, first off, I'm shocked. And secondly,
this is nine,
this
right?
this is episode 9. So if there's one to get us canceled or a potential lawsuit, it's going to be this one because we are going to be talking about uh Goldin. We're going to be talking about Alt. We're going to talk about Jeff, sports card investor, as you can tell by my name. So if one or if not all those people come and sue us or cease and desist, I will be impressed. So I'm aiming for this to get canceled. And we had a good run. And I guess I appreciated living as long as I did. So, I'm aiming high.
This will be interesting to see what happens. But what do you what's on your mind? What are you up to?
So, funny story. Well, several funny stories. The top thing on my mind is that Kobe Bryant 1 of 1 Eternals inscribed auto that I bought last night on eBay at the time of recording. This will obviously come out tomorrow. So, it is inscribed 18-time All-Star and 5-time champ, I believe. Super dope card. Has only appeared at auction twice. One last week when then I won it yesterday. And then in 2022 in March, I did 20K. I paid less than that, which is super cool. Very excited to get it. Already getting some trade interest. If I don't move it, I will bring it to the Burbank show in February, as well as other shows whenever it gets in hand. And we'll see what happens. And I'm super excited to get that in because I sold off a bunch of stuff over the last week. I moved like 125, 130 items, consolidated all that, and it didn't basically turn into the Kobe Eternals, but it was relatively close. So super excited to build up, trade down, build up, and see what happens. And
The
then
oh, you got it.
oh no, I was gonna say the Hennessy story or the accident. So obviously, drinking is cool if you're overage or whatever, and you choose to drink socially or by yourself to forget or whatever else people do. And I had actually received a gift of a very nice Hennessy bottle from a friend, Brad, Outlaw Sports Cards. I hope is correct. Anyway, super nice gift. Didn't have to do that. Brought it over. Like, hey, go drink this with your friends, whatever. So obviously I ignore that and like, hey, I just wanted a sick card on eBay. I turn to my girlfriend, like, hey, let's go have like a toast to like celebrate. Yeah, this is super cool. Like, fuck it, why not? We're old. And I also, and on top of being old, have never drank Hennessy. And I'm also, I guess, still in the college mindset where when you twist bottles, they're cheap and like they're plastic and like there's no cork. So I open up the bottle and I twist it and I fucking put cork in my Hennessy bottle. And I spent 20 minutes fishing it out. Thankfully did it all, but I felt so stupid. I'm not used to, I guess, nice things. So that was how my Monday night ended. Was just fishing cork out of a Hennessy bottle and failing for a little while. So
Could have been worse. You could have broke the bottle.
yeah, I'm really happy I didn't break the bottle, but I basically got as close as you could without physically breaking it. Also, on Sunday, I guess you and I both did this. We went to an NFL game. I saw the Commanders and the Giants. They fucking tied, which makes perfect sense for communism, as the Commanders, are referred to as the commies. So I guess it makes sense, but I'm still a little butthurt that we went for a friend's birthday and all that good stuff, and they fucking tied. So a little
That's so
upset.
funny.
I know.
But
What about you,
yeah,
man?
I went to the Falcons game. We of course lost in grand fashion. I've never been to a Falcons game that we won, so that'll continue.
That'll happen. I'm sorry.
I'm working on a little project that I kind of hinted at last week for 2023. I've started filming a few things on the down low, little
Oh, you started
content.
filming. Interesting.
Nothing crazy, sort of just like, I don't know, like reels, TikToks, that kind of thing. I'm preparing a little bit.
Okay,
And
smart. I like it.
one of the things that I bought for this little project one of the first things I bought, I guess I should say, was a 1952 tops. A lot of, I think it's the first 54 cards that
Sick.
are in the set. So I've been going through them. I got them in today, and one of them's actually signed. So I thought that was really cool. I don't really do vintage a lot, so I'm still kind of learning about it. I guess the top couple of cards are always more valuable too.
I
But
mean, are you concerned about them like not being real? Are you concerned
oh,
like
well, they have a lot of wear on them, so they're not gonna. I'm gonna send most of them to SGC probably. I think they'll probably
oh,
worth
okay.
1 to 3. So I mean, I don't think they're anything like they're not gonna be $1,000 cards, but they're definitely real. I'd have to say, but just a start to a little project. So
It's
been having
exciting,
fun
man.
with that. Yeah. Nothing else really for me.
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, it's such a weird like. I like that we record this podcast on Tuesday nights because like it breaks up like the week.
Yeah.
But dude, we're at episode 9. It's been 2 months of this. It's such an interesting pattern that we've gotten into because when we started it, we were in the middle of the NFL season. Basketball was just about to start. We had the playoffs in MLB, and we're starting to see that shift. Like now, we're starting to see. First off, MLB free agency is happening.
I was just
We
checking.
Yeah. I somehow got the prediction right about Jacob deGrom going to the Rangers, which is super funny because I was originally going to say the Braves. So maybe I'm just the baseball guy because my basketball takes are trash, at least according to my dumb hot takes that we made. But it's just so interesting to me that we are really trending in a good spot here. And speaking of teams that are not trending into good spots, and our perfect segue into week 13 NFL thoughts, I have none because the Giants cause me pain. And I believe this is the first tie that we've had at MetLife. They put this on the board. It was either since like the 90s or like early 2000s. It was something wild. And one of my friends who came with us, who is not really a football fan, he's more soccer and stuff like that, was egging us on like, hey man, wouldn't it be so cool to see a tie?
That's
It's so
funny.
historic. And I was fucking so pissed. And it was also cold. So on top of like being unhappy that your team ties, we were just cold and it was just, fun time, but
Yeah. How cold was
not
it there?
40. It was 40 degrees. We got lucky because Saturday here in New Jersey, it was like 55 and rainy. So I guess we kind of like, if it was rainy and cold and we tied, oh, I would have been bitching and moaning forever. But got lucky there. Besides that, Monday Night Football, I'm sure you saw this as well. Tom Brady is insane. The comeback against the Saints, they were down what? 14 to
It was
3?
16-3 with 3 minutes
16 to
left.
3. Thank
Did you
you.
see the Mark Ingram thing?
No, what are you talking about?
So the Saints had the ball, and I think it was second down. Mark Ingram with like 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left, whatever. He ran out of bounds like half a yard short when no one was even near him for no
Oh,
reason. And
weird.
it's like
Oh,
viral
no.
on Twitter. Everyone thinks like something was going on.
I think he just lost his mind then for a second,
I guess it was
But you
weird.
should know better. I mean, he's been in the league almost, I have to say, a decade
Yeah.
or close to a decade. So,
And they throw
yeah,
an
just
incompletion. Yeah.
I don't know. That's scary. And also, ironically enough, speaking of scary, Denver Broncos. Dude, I really could be convinced that Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater could be leading this team to about the same success
I agree.
than Russell Wilson is doing right now, which is super ironic because I just sold a contender's auto of him this week. But, gun to my head, I really can't see how a quarterback like Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater or Baker Mayfield or any quarterback really could be performing much worse than Russell Wilson is right now, especially
Have
when you
you
consider.
have you seen the thing on Twitter about bathrooms to touchdown passes?
Yes, I've seen this. This is super funny. So, for anyone who is not aware, Russell Wilson in his McMansion or mansion or whatever you call it has 12 bathrooms. And I believe as of week 13, he has either 8 or 9 touchdowns. So,
I think it's
like,
8. He needs like
he's got
one more every week to be able to even tie it, I think, or something like that.
it's so bad. And then
Who
you
comes
consider
up with this? Like,
the people who have way too much time on their hands. But I mean, listen, I know that Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater are not good quarterbacks. Like, that's not a shock. But, like, how much worse could it really be if it was one of them versus what you're paying Russell Wilson and all those, picks and money saved and whatever else. So, like it's really kind of shocking where we are right now.
I was always a big Drew Lock guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he would do just as good.
I mean, listen, look at what Geno Smith is doing right now in Seattle. Like, how much of it is coaching? How much is it? How much is it to supposed to be? You know what I mean? Like, coaching obviously has a huge impact on a player, but how much of it is just like not the right situation? How much of it is the personnel? Because if you're Geno Smith, you have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and usually
I
decent
mean, the
running back.
Broncos are no slouch either, though. They got Sutton, Judy,
But they're hurt. That's the issue.
Yeah, I guess. I don't really keep up with them.
It's so tricky. And also, I'm sorry if I'm checking my phone. As we're recording this, Judge is apparently going to the Giants, but
I haven't seen anything new yet.
So that's exactly it. John Heyman did say he was going to the Giants, and then he deleted the tweet, and now everyone is kind of in flux. So as a Yankee fan, and there is the Brett Gardner jersey above me, and then fucking Jerks and Profar because it's dope. I am trying to check my phone a little bit to make sure that if Judge goes to the Giants, I can start crying in peace after the podcast,
But for me, nothing really too crazy happened in football that I really would want to point out. Besides, I guess the Falcons losing is not really crazy, pretty normal actually. But
no, it's very normal.
I think with the Bucks winning that Monday night game, it basically eliminated us. I think we have like a 4% chance to make the division or playoffs or something. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Desmond Ritter now. But
what do you have to lose?
Well, don't even get me started. I've been wanting us to start him for weeks, but I think the coaching staff will be a little less stubborn now and just fucking see what they have. I guess we'll see.
Who's your coach again? It's not
Arthur Smith.
It is Arthur Smith still. I mean, he's got to be on the hot seat.
Well, see, I like him as coach. We have like the NFL record for money tied into dead cap this year. We have like $40 million on like our roster, like actually playing.
That's crazy.
Because Matt and Julio have like 60 or 70 million dead money.
What are they off the hook for next year? Or
next year we have like $90 million in cap.
Okay. I mean, it's so crazy because like obviously you're playing with like spare parts and like whatever. I think you have to try out your quarterback because even if like you did clean house, again, new GM, new coach, whatever, like they might not think Ritter is the guy. Yeah, so like you got to find out what you have. I mean,
I've been buying a lot of Ritter on the cheap for the last. I mean,
weeks. You could see what happened with like Brock Purdy. You come in and play, and you're decent. Your cards are going to spike 600%, which is super funny. Yeah, I mean, dude, and you're actually a Falcons fan too, so you'll sell.
I'll keep one. I'll sell 9 of them. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what you should do. Like, just free roll. And it's so funny that like we talk about the football market and quarterbacks and all that stuff because the next segment, although it's about NBA thoughts, it has to do with like Zion and like the card hype and production. So I checked this before because I wanted to be informed. Zion has actually stayed like relatively healthy comparatively to like what he's done in the past. So as of date of recording, Zion has played in 18 of 23 games for the Pelicans. So you extrapolate that over an 82-game season, it comes out to 64, which is actually a career high for him. His previous high is 61. That's actually not terrible. One of my hot takes this season, which I will stand by, is him playing less than 41. So you play 64, that's actually not terrible. I actually looked at his stats before the podcast, just as like an data sense and analytics based, whatever. He's actually playing pretty well, but his card prices have continued to drop. So it's so interesting to me that like a all-star caliber player who is very young, who has a huge presence in sports cards, continues to see his drop in prices. And I'm someone who does not like Zion, so I'm trying to give credit. Like I can eat some crow and I can understand when I'm wrong. I don't like Zion as a player for other reasons besides the card market. I just think that like his career could end in 5 seasons. I think that you're gonna have serious issues with him as he ages. But at this moment in time, you're seeing this good mix, or I guess this crazy mix of like the demand for his cards being being overmet by the supply. So much stuff is going to auction because I think people are going to try and like cash out or try and cut their losses or even make a profit. I know that's crazy in today's world. But it's just like this such an interesting dynamic. Like I think the hype behind him is kind of disappearing in a way. So
I don't think he's the only guy we're seeing that with either.
what'd you say?
I said I don't think he's the only guy we're seeing that with either.
No, of course not. But I think Zion is a good barometer of
Yeah.
the basketball market because so much money is tied into him. I mean, Luke is another good example of that as well. LeBron, MJ, but like LeBron is in a different point of his career. Obviously, Luka is. I think Luka's a better player. I don't think that's a hot take. I think Luka can lead you to a championship. I don't know if Zion by himself could, but once again, I'm obviously a little bit of a hater, so I will give credit where he is due. Zion is playing like an all-star this year. Probably will make it, just based on popularity. But it's so interesting to me that like we're seeing this decline in a player who is doing what I was concerned about. He is relatively healthy.
Probably better than too.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I said 41 games, and he's projected to play 64 if everything works out. So super interesting. It kind of ties, or it kind of like leads into my point about like, in my opinion, the basketball market being the king. If you look at something like baseball, in reality, dude, like you can care about one product. If you care about Bowman Chrome / Bowman Draft, it's like the only one that truly actually matters down the line. Because like, dude, I love products like Definitive, Dynasty, all these like beautiful patch autos and logo patches, stuff like that. But you can buy a Mike Trout card on eBay for under $1,000. A Ken Griffey Jr. Dynasty patch auto might run you $2K or $2,500. But like in the grand scheme of like card prices, that's not that much. It's obviously expensive and
It's really
like
not, yeah.
warped. But to get like a Ken Griffey Jr. Seattle 2-color patch auto, 3-color patch auto for $1,500, $2,000, whatever. Recently on eBay, a Dynasty 1/1 Griffey with one of the brand logo patches of the Mariners. I don't know if it was. Oh my god, I don't remember.
I saw that card.
Yeah, whatever it was,
Yeah.
Riddell, I think Riddle. I don't know what one of those brands. It did $6K, and that's a dope, insane, like not a Grail card, but that's like a very beautiful Ken Griffey card. It's $6,000. That's not outrageous in this world of trading cards. You know what I mean? And
Game used as well, I believe.
it was game used. Yeah, Dynasty is basically always game used. Those items are not going to spike like a Bowman first, which is ironic because the only breaks I've been doing these days is Bowman Chrome. So yeah, it's just so interesting to me, this dynamic. And then you could talk about football. We said Brock Purdy. You look at his cards; they're exploding, or they were exploding over the last couple of days.
Did you see what some of them were selling for?
A couple hundred to 1,000, I believe.
Dude, I saw like base elite rookies selling for like $70.
But that's exactly it, dude. If you go back 5 days, those cards are probably unsold. Maybe they get to $5, but like, it's just so crazy to me that football is basically a quarterback market. You look at this ROI, if you go back a week for Brock Purdy, find someone else, or even you go back a month, or even if you ignore Brock Purdy, look at any backup quarterback. The potential spike in their prices is unheard of compared to any other position in football, and probably any other player in terms of like outside of quarterback. Like maybe you could convince me that like Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp when he was healthy last year, or even beginning of this year, like anyone like that, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, you're not going to see the spike happen in their cards. And it's so interesting to me. It's almost tragic in a way. Like a random backup quarterback who plays, let's say 5 games and maybe is okay, the spike in his card value is going to surpass a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill or Waddle or whoever. It's just so crazy to me. And that's why I kind of will live and die with the fact that basketball is king. And you're seeing this star player who I personally don't like, but I know others do and have a lot of money in him, go down. And it really is just like the supply thing. It's the demand being not nearly as met. It's just wild these days.
Something a little like off topic, but still on the same topic. Isn't it kind of crazy how the 49ers can like use like 5 million different quarterbacks and like play exactly the same?
I don't think it's crazy. I think it's just good coaching, which, you got to think
That's
about.
what I mean. Like they set it up like their system's so like you can just throw anyone back there and they're gonna be fine.
How many quarterbacks do you think would have prospered in a different coaching scheme? Like, I know that's not a hard hitting thought. I know that people had that thought before, but like, what if Jamarcus Russell was drafted to a better coaching staff, or Ryan Leaf, or Achilles Smith? We're going back to what, 99 or 98, whatever it is. Like, these horrible draft busts. What if they were put in better coaching situations? What if Peyton Manning was put in a bad coaching situation? Would he have risen to the occasion? What if Eli Manning stayed with the Chargers? Like, you can have this conversation for hours and hours and hours about what really matters. Is it the coaching staff? Is it the player? What is the difference? And I know that's not, we can do an entire episode about.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It just makes you think, dude. I really, if you're going to go after quarterback prospects, it's almost more important to look at the coaching staff and the history with them versus almost the intangibles of that player. Like, maybe mentally, like that's the one thing you really can't coach.
It's kind of scummy too, but you could also look at like if your starting quarterback's injury prone or not. I mean
that's not scummy. It's true.
Just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Why do you think players' cards spike when they die?
Like
Because
Tyler Huntley.
I think we went on two separate thoughts there. Yes, no, Tyler Huntley's not dead.
I didn't even hear you say that. Okay.
I was talking about how when a player dies, their cards spike. Like, I guarantee you right now, because Pele unfortunately is on like hospice. His cards are going up. Like, I guarantee you, someone's trying to get to the hospital. Someone's going to the hospital right now trying to pull the plug because they bought a bunch of cards. And that is your clip for the week. And once again, if I don't get canceled, I'm super impressed because I'm just pushing every button. Speaking of pushing every button, how about some PPP loans and talking about that?
Oh, geez.
Man, dude, this is going to go really badly. First off, I made a story on Sunday talking about how my one regret of not starting the Sold Too Early Sports Car podcast earlier, or you starting it because it was actually your idea. We could have gotten some business loans, quote unquote, and made a bunch of money for doing nothing.
Could have had an office.
Oh, dude, of course. Yeah, you and I are the only employees. We need $50 million or whatever. And just pick up. Sorry, you got to forgive me. But seriously, if you took out PPP loans and were using it to keep up with rent, pay employees, the sensible business things, I have no problem with that. That's what it's kind of intended for. If you're a small business and you suffer during, a once in a lifetime pandemic, I understand why you take out loans. That's very important. It's very crucial. You were paying theoretically people's bills as an employer. If you took out PPP loans because you could and you just pocketed the money, you're a piece of shit. And fuck you, and how dare you? And you could name a bunch of different people. I don't know how true some of that material is, so I don't want to say it. I'm not naming anyone specifically in this section, but there were some posts I saw and some stories about some noticeable people, and I don't know where that money went. I will never know, and most likely neither are you. I know people are pulling up a certain individual's spending habits during those times, but we'll never exactly.
Oh wait, know. Are we not going to name drop? Because I was literally just pulling up something.
If you want to name drop and you have the proof, I'm happy to.
I mean, I have no proof. It's just something really interesting.
Hold up,
Zane
why not?
Posted. I don't know if you saw it.
Show it. Why not?
I'm trying to. Hold on.
So what we're doing right now, for anyone who is listening to the podcast, first off, thank you. We're going to South Park Cards, Zane's Instagram story, and I think I saw what you had. It was all of the items, quote unquote, that a certain individual, a certain investor in sports cards, purchased over a period of time when his loans were approved for something like $2 million. Were these two different loans? Now it wasn't through Sports Card Investor. It was a different company that he owns, if I remember correctly.
I don't write something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know the exact specifics here. We're just kind of
and it's all speculation. This information that's really available on the internet. We're just talking about it. Don't sue me. The cease and desist is not going to work on a podcast like this. So whatever. I'll come back with a new podcast. This was how that individual had 2 business loans for his marketing agency, now connected to his profile, impacted by COVID, for $2.26 million. And then you could see the items that this individual bought. He bought LeBron Topps Chrome Refractor, another Topps Chrome Refractor from a different year, various boxes of cases.
Purchases after he got the loan as well.
Correct. So basically, you can infer or supposed to infer these are verified sources of information. Here are some items that were purchased for these prices. Make with that information what you will. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying there. It's very interesting.
I think this one conveniently, I'm not sure about the first one. This one looks like it adds up to almost exactly that amount as well.
That's super. Oh, what an interesting dynamic. What?
Well, close to it at least. Probably around $1 million.
Listen, all I'm going to say is that I wish the Sold Too Early podcast started sooner so I could have taken all this money as a handout and just stuffed it under my bed or whatever I was going to do with it.
I just love how these random crazy theories come out.
What'd you say?
These theories just come out like months later, randomly, years later, actually. Like, it's like, what the fuck? If people knew this was happening like 2 years ago, I don't know what would have happened.
No one would have cared. No one cares anyway, dude. Nothing's going to happen. Like, I make jokes that this podcast is going to get canceled. No one's going to fucking do anything. No one cares.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. I just report on it in a way that I think is funny. Just like another person we're about to talk about, which is Goldin Auctions. We'll talk about the good stuff first, and then we'll talk about something I saw on Instagram, which is funny, which may end up in a lawsuit, knowing us. Let's talk about the good first. The Aaron Judge 62 home run ball is currently at auction. It ends in 11 days. It's at $1.15 million. The buyer the seller, I should say, was supposedly offered $3 million before auction and turned it down. Kai, I personally think it goes for barely 2. I just don't see how
somewhere around there.
I just don't see how in this market it's going to go for $3 million.
Okay, hold on. Dude, is this ball isn't it just the AL home run record for non-steroid users or something?
Correct.
Why is it? Am I stupid, or is it really not that significant in my opinion?
I mean, it's significant in the fact that it's the American League record. It passes Roger Maris, which a lot of people consider the true home run record, because the guys who pass it, which were McGuire, I think he hit 70. Actually, I think Sosa hit 66. I think McGuire hit 70, and then Bonds hit 71. Those numbers, I believe, are correct. I could double check, but that's something roughly what it is. Yeah, I believe those 3 passed 61, but all of them used steroids. So in baseball purist minds, 61 was the true record. But if we're going to go down that rabbit hole, we can also exclude Roger Maris because he played in more games than Babe Ruth, and even the MLB commissioner had 2 separate records at a time. Once again, dude, it's all fucking.
It's just a weird. I don't know. What did Pujols' 700th ball go for? I'd almost rather.
I think it was 400 or 500 million. 400 or 500,000 dollars.
I'm assuming as a Yankee fan, you'd probably rather have the Judge ball. But
I mean, as a Yankee fan, I'd rather have the Judge ball. But dude,
I feel like the Pujols one's cooler.
They're both cool, and I really do like the how Pujols hit 2 home runs in the game. He it was in LA, which was the team he played for theoretically for a little bit of time. I like that story behind it. I think if the Yankees had won the World Series or made a deep playoff run, this ball would go for a lot more money. But I think really he was just kind of pressing towards the end, and I think the Yankees actually suffered a little bit as a result. So as a Yankee fan, yeah, of course I'd love to have this ball. It's incredible. It's historic, and it truly is. And I think people will remember 62 more in this area than 700 home runs for Albert. But it's interesting. It's there's no wrong answer there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you looked at this auction at all?
I looked at it a little bit. There were some interesting game. Yeah. There were some game used articles I liked. There is so this is interesting. There was a ring I saw, and it was Jason Kelsey's Super Bowl ring, but it was ordered by Evan Mathis, who I believe.
What does that even mean?
So basically, and I read the auction. I don't know what page it's on. It's on 3 or 4.
I could probably search it ring.
Yeah, it was Kelsey ring.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there you go. So what it was Evan Mathis.
Ordered by Evan Mathis.
Yeah, it's just a ring that he ordered. It's not the same exact size as the player
backup ring.
Yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but it's
15%
cool.
smaller.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like one tier below the actual player ring, but it's neat. I mean, I would never bid on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I don't know why it exists.
Can we also talk about how there's 2 Brady playoff contenders or whatever championship contenders, whatever they are? On one
yeah. So once again, and I've said this in real life. I've said this to you. I may have mentioned this on the podcast. Items aren't really rare anymore. They're just expensive. Like, if you look at these premier auctions across PWCC, Goldin, Alt, whatever, we've seen a bunch of different, like, Topps Chrome Gold LeBrons, championship contender Brady's, Fleer MJ10s. Like, I mean, the MJ10s are not that rare. There's 300 plus of them. But, like, these items are coming up pretty regularly now. Like, hey, if you didn't win it in, like, August, you could win it in September. And if not, then June or September again or October. Like, it doesn't matter. And also, they keep on
maybe
dropping.
Even 2 auctions on 2 different auctions in the same week.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, just interesting. Things are not as rare as they used to be. I think people are cashing out and taking profits because I think what's happening, honestly, is a lot of people who bought these before the COVID spike of 2020 and stuff like that, maybe 10, 20 years ago, whatever it is, bought these items and are selling and collecting their profits, which is amazing. But then they keep on doing that, or maybe investors who bought in the COVID spike are cutting their losses theoretically and moving on with their lives and whatever. So you're having these 2 different dynamics of, like, people who are taking the money now who rightfully should because they owned it for 20 years. They bought Brady in 2005, let's say.
Yeah.
Or, someone who over leveraged themselves and, forgot that real life exists and has to sell their LeBron gold, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just so interesting that these auctions continue to happen, that these items continue to come up. I would obviously prefer auction houses coordinate better, but they're not going to. And no one's actually really suggesting that. But it would be cool. It would make
it'd be nice for the buyer. I mean, it'd be nice for the buyer and seller.
Yeah, it won't.
I guess it doesn't really matter to the auction house. I can't imagine.
No, it doesn't. And I respect it. I get it. I'm not trying to be dumb. They have a business to run. People are giving them the cards to run. They should run them. And you know what? They will either make their cut as the auction house, or they'll make a little bit less as they continue to drive down their own prices. And you know what? They continue. The house always wins. So it
actually sent something to Goldin.
I'm sending. I picked up a Giannis 101 Black from 2014 Flawless, his second year. I shipped it right to PWCC. I'm going to run it at auction, but guess what? It's a 101, and it's Giannis. Like, at least when I'm buying or trading for things, and I decide to run it at auction, whenever I choose to, at least it's a 1 of 1. Like, it is theoretically a rarer card, and you can talk about serial number and all that good stuff. Like, this item is probably the best second-year card of Giannis you could have, or at least one of those up there. I don't know if he has Logo Man his second year. I'm sure he does. It's maybe top 10. Let's change it to top 10 best card of Giannis in his second year. So that's pretty good. Excited to own it, and we'll see what it does if it hits the open market.
What was this about lawsuits?
Oh, so Ken Goldin apparently is suing people who make mean comments about him on Instagram. And like, this was confirmed by several different people. So, hey guys, I appreciate all of you. Shame I'm mysteriously going to die after this episode airs from a gunshot.
You haven't said a mean comment yet.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, I'm calling it out. So like, they're going to send guys for me because we're both in New Jersey. So I'm sure he's already on his way. Nice knowing you guys. It's been fun. I'm like those crypto billionaires. I'm just going to mysteriously vanish or get shot in the back of the head like a suicide or drown or whatever happens to me. So I respect you guys. Thank you for knowing me. It's such a shame I have to go like this, but there you go. It's been a good ride. Oh, and Kai has seemed to have left the podcast, leaving me as the only host. I guess Kai was actually the one killed and not me. That's not good. Hey, Kai, how are you enjoying the afterlife?
We are back. It happened to me.
No, I already made that comment. So for everyone who's
Oh
not
man.
watching, Kai left the StreamYard, and I guess he died, but then he came back. So, hey, Jesus. Good to see you. I know we're early for Christmas, or not Christmas, Easter. Oh, fucking whatever. This joke doesn't work.
Easter. The
I
fuck?
don't Lent. What the hell?
What are you trying to say?
I'm calling you Jesus, but like you come back 3 days later.
Christmas? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm not fucking. Moving on.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's talk about alt and their email promo. We're just going after fucking everything, religion to different auction houses and everything in between, I guess. So the
Fun
alt email
episode.
promo. Yeah, dude, this is once again canceled. Alt email promo for anyone who is not aware. Basically, they were asking for consumer feedback on their platform. You know what? Awesome. Good idea. I like when businesses do this. I've offered alt help before. I met with them at the National, actually, and gave consumer feedback about a feature that they ended up not running, or at least haven't run yet. And I liked it. They're nice people. I have a lot of friends who actually work at alt. Super, super kind, nice people. So they decided to get feedback on their services and their platform, and they offered those who did it either the chance at $30 alt credit or the guarantee of a $30 alt credit. And then they didn't pay it. They said they met the quota or they exceeded it, and they didn't pay, if not all of it, any of it. Once again, I can't confirm that, but it caused a ruckus on Instagram late last week. It was after we recorded the episode 8, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But, not a good look. It's unfortunate. It does happen. Mistakes like this do occur. I mean, $30 on alt is not going to really change much. Maybe your shipping costs for your win. But I felt the need to call this out after we talked about Goldin and PWC, or not PWCC this week. Goldin and
this week.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we talk about every auction house when we get a chance to. I mean, we looked at PWCC last week or 2 weeks ago. We also talked about Luca. We try to be equal to everything.
Did you ever look at the alt survey?
I didn't have a chance to. Did you happen to pull it up?
Oh my god, dude! I pulled it up probably a year ago when they first sent it out. Whoever completed that, props to you. That thing was probably an hour-long survey.
Wait, I didn't know this. Are you serious? It was an hour. Let's say it was half an hour.
Survey. There was no time, but the survey was very long.
Okay, so if you actually did complete the survey,
legitimately, and just click through it, that's probably 30, 40 minute commitment.
I figured it'd be 5 or 10 questions, or maybe 25.
That's why I think it's actually kind of reasonable people were upset about it, because it was at least when I saw it a while ago, it was a very long customer survey.
So then why did it go on Instagram last week? Why were people talking about it?
I don't think anyone really thought much of it until someone decided to. I don't really know, dude.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it happens. All right, let's move into the Q&A, which I know somehow we made it this far. But we have 5 questions. They're all pretty good, actually. I enjoy the Q&A section. It's probably my favorite part. That and the opening thoughts, because just kind of gets a riff about whatever.
I like how we have a little rhythm to our show real quick.
That's exactly it too. I know we're actually kind of speed running this episode. It's probably not gonna be an hour, but we seem to really have a good flow to what we do, and we're getting better at it. Obviously, assuming we don't mysteriously disappear after this episode, we'll continue to improve it as time goes on. So, from Statin Cards, what value should your collection be at to when you start setting up and traveling for shows? So this is such an interesting question, because I kind of missed this. So when I started going to shows, actually traveling for shows, was 2018. I got into cards in 2015, and I went to the National every year. So that was Chicago, 3 years, I believe, 2018, 2019. Okay, 2 years, 2018, 2019. 2020 was an AC, but obviously it was canceled due to COVID. and I've been to every one since. So besides the national, I didn't travel for shows until after COVID. So my first shows besides Chicago really were Dallas in 2021. So I kind of missed this boat. By the time I started traveling consistently to shows, my collection was over six figures, that's not a shock. That's not me hashtag flexing on them hoes or whatever. It's just the fact of the situation.
It was never like a talked about issue for you.
No, I kind of like I missed the boat on certain things. I didn't collect as a kid. I got into it kind of older. I looked at it as a business early on. Like I kind of missed some steps. I wouldn't put a dollar value on anything. Like it's all relative. Like I'm assuming Staten Cards in Staten Island, let's say, or in this area. So if you travel to the Philly show and that's a 3-hour drive for you, but you have X amount of stuff, is it worth it? Probably. I mean, it's the Philly show here was pretty good from people who set up. I personally just didn't go this time. Is that traveling, or are you sticking to, your neck of the woods in New York, let's say, or New Jersey, if it's close enough? Like, are we talking about getting on a plane? Like, I would say my upkeep for a 3-day show, let's say to Dallas, is $1,500, $2K at the high end, depending on what I'm doing based on my plane ticket and my hotel and food and drink. And then if we go to a basketball game or something fun, like, yeah, you can blow through $2,000 in a weekend on all those expenses. And, is that profitable? It depends on your kind of stuff. If you have one showcase or even half a showcase in an okay show, but you spend $1,000 to get there, $1,200 to get there, and you don't really sell much, is it worth it? I don't want to put a dollar value on like what your collection should be worth, but like I think that if a $1,200, $1,500 hit is like massive to your collection and like your financial standpoint, I would say that you're not ready to travel to like a major show, and the fact of like all these expenses. When you can kind of like walk that off and like be fine financially or collection wise, then I think you're quote unquote ready to travel, which I think is like a nice way to say it. Maybe I'm not saying it correctly,
Yeah.
Kyle.
I mean, the only thing I would say you did a pretty good job of explaining it. The only thing I would say, I mean, you pretty much hit on it, but if you're going to go to a show, if it's somewhere that you want to also like visit and do like things like basketball game stuff, I would say if you're paying for it for yourself, obviously, if you go and you break even, but you had a good time, I would say that's probably a step that was okay to travel to. But if it's not somewhere you also want to visit, I would say you need to have a dollars amount in mind that you want to make for the show to be like make it feasible to actually go to. Because if you're just going and like breaking even or losing money, like it's not sustainable. Obviously, you're gonna not be able to travel anymore. So definitely wait until it makes sense for you to start going.
I can thankfully say that every trip I've been on has financially been successful. There have been some bad shows I've gone to. I wasn't shy about my thoughts on Nashville last time, but because of 2 deals with friends, it was profitable. But like once again, if those 2 deals don't happen, I probably take a loss on the trip all in. And while that would not have sunk me financially, it would have fucking sucked. And I probably would not have intended to go to the next Nashville show. So you have to be willing to weigh the pros and cons. Once again, it's all relative. If you can listen, if I can break even on every show I went to, but I have an amazing time, I would consider it. I probably wouldn't want to do it now at this point in time, but if I'm a smaller collector, but I can go to, a sick Magic game or a sick Mavericks game or Hawks or whatever
game.
I don't know, man. I was going to say Mavericks and I just stuttered. So thank you for catching me on that and being incorrect. Maybe the Magic are playing someone good and like you could go see that team. I don't know. It's
definitely relative.
It is always relative, which is something I will call out a ton. From average collector. Oh, sorry. Do you want to read it?
That's okay. I got it. Fine. All right. From average collector, what are the top few things to keep in mind when negotiating card values in a deal?
I mean, you have to know your comps. You have to be informed. You have to make sure you're not undershooting yourself or overshooting yourself. Good in between. I also, and Kai, maybe I'm the only person who does this. If I make deals with you pretty regularly, I will probably take your word on your values.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
what I
I'll
was gonna say.
maybe I'll negotiate a little bit, but like, dude, I did a 12K deal with someone, the person who brought the Hennessy after, and I didn't even check his comps. I'm like, all right, man, that sounds good to me. Like, and I told him that he started laughing. And like, it's just like a general respect of one another.
Yeah, I would say it's
I mean,
almost more of like having a person that you're comfortable dealing with than like worrying about the cards. Because I feel like if
it
you have a
is.
person you deal with a lot or like a respectable person, like you might both be off a little bit, but you're gonna make it like work, and it won't be a
Well, that's
rip off.
exactly too. Like, if you lose money on me or I lose money on you, you're probably not going to work with me as much. But like, once again, like, Ironic enough, Average Collector is someone who I deal with pretty regularly, actually, and I think we're both happy at the end of the day. So I like to imagine that, it comes down to respect. It comes down to like not wasting each other's time. Being fair. Because if you dome someone, if you make $5,000 off someone on a deal, you're not gonna they're not gonna work with you anymore. They're gonna be like, hey man, what the fuck? Like, you killed me on this card. Like, why would I want your stuff anymore? So I understand everyone has to eat, everyone has to make money and be successful. And it just, the respect etiquette is something that does seem to be lost on people every now and again. And you have to become grounded in the reality of like, hey, know your values, respect the other person's time, and don't feel like you're gonna just immediately kick someone's ass on every single deal, because like we are
Hot
all.
stove.
Oh god,
Not
what
Aaron
happened?
Judge. Not Aaron Judge.
Who?
Bellinger to the Cubs.
Oh shit, that's actually a pretty good
Yes.
move for them.
I'm
Actually,
thinking they're
really
going to sign Dansby too. Also,
I like that move for the Cubs because like you can get someone who's I'm assuming it's a 1 year
it's a
deal.
1 year deal, 17.
That's exactly what I thought, because I figured he would want to rebuild his value. So at the best case, you get someone who is financially motivated to come in and kick ass, and maybe you exceed expectations. And at the worst case, you're ass again, and you can trade Cody at the trade deadline. So
Yep,
that's a sick move for the Cubs.
Yeah. You got that.
From DRC Collector, what is the worst state and why is it New Jersey? Because Atlantic City exists, and I think we're all still terrified of AC. I can tell you that I will probably never go back to AC if I can avoid it. The Borgata is an oasis in a desert of homeless people, crackheads, and needles. And I, even as someone who is from this general area, don't like New Jersey, and I don't blame anyone for not liking New Jersey.
Don't have much to add there.
No, I'm allowed to talk shit about my state.
Joe's Card Shack says, if you PC something and pay above comps, are you overpaying or are you setting the market on it? I think you're overpaying.
Yeah, you're probably overpaying, but like, I think it all once again, it all depends. And these are such good questions too, where like it's not a yes or no, it's all a million different shades of gray.
These have been good questions this week.
These are good questions. Like that's the thing too, is like, except for the New Jersey one's obviously correct, but like
these are the questions I like hearing, like watching other people's podcasts. Like these are good questions.
They are, but like if it's something like rare that you'll never see again, are you really overpaying? Like, dude, the Brett Gardner,
exactly.
This one, the Brett Gardner jersey I bought over there, I've never seen one come up on market. I paid pretty strongly on it actually, but I mean, it's all up to is $400, $500 all in, whatever it was, worth it for something I will probably not see again.
I think you also need to consider if you plan on like selling it again, or if it's like actually like you're keeping it like PC.
I mean, I don't intend on moving to Jersey, so like, would I rather have
more like cards?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. But like even the memorabilia, would I rather have the Brett Gardner jersey or like a LeBron James Topps Chrome PSA 8 or whatever is about $500 these days? I think Bowman Chrome 9 is like $700. So like whatever the example is, it just depends. I mean, if you're gonna be a hashtag PC investor and never move this, and then 2 weeks later you're putting it up for auction, you overpaid and you're kind of silly. If it's actually something you're going to keep for a year, 5 years, 10 years, forever, then who fucking cares what you
I
paid?
think it
You're the
also
one who
matters
enjoyed it.
if it's like you collect one of those random ass players, if you collect like Tom Brady rare cards, that also
That's
makes an
true.
impact.
Those are the people too. The people who collect like a Tom Brady type or LeBron James type who are like, yeah, dude, this is PC for life. And then they post on Instagram 2 weeks later that it's for sale for trade. It's like, all right, what the fuck are you actually doing?
Yeah,
But if you're
exactly.
PCing D Gordon, I don't think you're gonna be able to flip D Gordon cards. So like, you know, I do think you nailed it on the fact of like you have to if it's an obscure player and you're actually gonna keep those items and whatever else, like you're not overpaying, you're enjoying your collection. But if it's Aaron Judge and you're flipping it tomorrow to the Giants fan who you're gonna be buying it if he goes,
Inevitably.
yeah, hopefully not. I think you're not saying the market, you're overpaying. From PLB Cards, and this is the last question, but this is a really good question. How do you handle reselling a card you bought on auction when the comp is public? Simple.
I'll you start, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once again, let's look at the Kobe 101 I bought. I paid $13,000 for it yesterday. That is public information. You could check it on Card Ladder, eBay, whatever. So it doesn't matter what I share. But my mentality is this. Okay, you know what I paid? Find another one.
We'll see. That's also different. There's a difference between like stuff like that and like Prism PSA 10s. Like,
First
two different answers.
Of course, there's two different answers. I was hoping you'd say that. Like, if an item truly is a one-of-one type thing, I mean, there's several different.
Not even one-on-one. Just has to be rare.
Well, that's exactly it. If it's rare and people can't find it, this is the price. I will negotiate with you in some way, shape, or form. But if I paid $13K for it and you offer me $9K, you think I'm fucking stupid? Like, what's wrong with you? On stuff
it's
that
definitely
is
a lot harder for the other shit.
It's. I almost think it's easier in a way to negotiate on rare stuff than the mass-produced common like PSA 10 type Prism cards. Because if a card sells for $80 and you're at $100, you're not going to sell it. And if I offer you 65, you're probably not going to take it anyway. So like on the smaller cards with like these thin margins, I feel like it's harder to negotiate than these large rare items where value is interpreted differently. You know what I mean?
Definitely agree. Yeah.
But maybe that's just like the way we are now and like how we've collected because we're in the higher end of the market and we've been there for a little while. But like these newer collectors or these items that are lower end where there are comps every single day, maybe every single hour in some instances, they are generally trending downward. So like, how do you expect someone who paid $100, let's say, for an item and now comps $80 to sell it for 65? I know. And when you're in the lower end of the market, that difference of $35 is a pretty significant one. That's a loss of what? Almost 50%, 40%, whatever the math checks out to. It's difficult, and I could see why people would be upset.
Well, I think you also need to go back to like the buying part of this equation. Like you need to know like what you're gonna do before you buy the card. Like if you buy a base Prism on eBay at auction, like I mean, unless you just don't know what you're doing, you're not gonna make money on that card unless the dude starts going off. Like but I mean, if you're buying one of those rare cards, then yeah, you'll be okay. But you definitely need to know like what you're gonna do before you buy it.
I mean, I can tell you already that I've gotten several different inquiries from high-end dealers on the Kobe Eternals. I also know that if it survives to Burbank in February, it is going to be stickered at like 20 grand, maybe 25K. It doesn't matter what I sticker it at first because you're going to negotiate and you're going to check Card Ladder and you're going to see it. It's like, all right, you paid 13. What do you actually want? Well, it's like, well, man, go find another one in this room. You probably won't be able to. So your move first. And that's fine because of X, Y, and Z. So you know what I mean? It's just such an interesting game you have to play. If you have rare items and people want them, they will overtrade or they'll overpay in some instances relatively. Comps only set the barometer on what is publicly available. Private sales, private trades really do dictate the market. And it is ironic that people know that, but will exclude that information depending on if you're the one buying or if you're the one selling.
Yep.
Because you can only know so much information at any one given time. But when you do have the information, you do have an advantage in negotiating tactics if you choose to use it.
Also, no one's doing private deals for base cards, so
No, I mean, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, I know what other Kobe Eternals have gone for because people who own them see that card and DM you, and I know what they have sold for and what they
There's
have been
also like
traded
certain
for.
players and teams that like have cards that people would just be stupid and overpay for. Like Kobe's a great example.
In terms of like people overpaying for Kobe, or like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like Steph Curry, like the Asia Steph Curry fans, like they just drop whatever you're asking for the
But
card.
that's exactly like the thing too about the Kobe card is like that should not have gone to eBay auction ever. That should not have been an auction card. That should have been sitting on eBay, buy now, best offer like $25K, and you wait because guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put it on eBay at like $25K, $30K, and wait, assuming that I actually do end up keeping the card because there's no rush to move that item. And I guarantee you, I will get at least one offer from China or Korea, north or south, depending on who's buying it, and and we'll see what happens. But like, sometimes you do have to auction off items. I auction off a bunch of stuff, and that loss is whatever it is. But you roll it into something else that's incredible, and you kind of can set the market again, and you could get back your losses and maybe turn a profit if you do it correctly. I have no fear of making money on the Kobe card, whether it's a couple grand or more. You just got to find the right buyer. And you know what? You're not going to find them always in a 7-day auction on eBay. Might take 6 months. Might take a year. But guess what? Card's dope, so it doesn't matter.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, that's kind of what I have for today. So we got close to an hour. The Q&A section always good for adding that video length time or audio length time, depending on when you're listening to. Kai, any closing thoughts or any free agent deals that I should know of as I open up my phone to check?
Check real quick if you. Oh no, you talk. I'll check.
Okay.
Give us some good filler.
Oh God! All right. So once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, there lived a man named Aaron Judge, who hopefully, as Kai is checking his phone, is now
Aaron
becoming
Judge, the Dodgers.
Shut the fuck up.
No, yeah, no news.
Okay. that would be a Hollywood ending to the podcast. Get it? Haha, because it's Hollywood. All right. Well, I got nothing else to add. Hopefully, next time we come on this podcast, I'm still alive and Aaron Judge is a Yankee. That's all I have to say about that.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week with episode 10.
Hopefully you got to read my obituary. Bye.
Bye.